District Board meeting for January 29th, 2018 to order. We have an agenda before us. Any changes to the agenda?
No, there is not.
Need to accept the motion, a motion to accept the agenda as prepared. Board Member Byer, Board Member Schmuck, all in favor? Carried. I'd like to welcome David Haskin from Sustainable Development, and we have regrets from Brent Mack from the province of Manitoba. We have the adoption of minutes, the Thompson Planning District meeting, January 2nd, 2018. Resolution 2018-004, moved by Board Member Foley, seconded by Board Member Byer. Be it resolved that the minutes of the Thompson Planning District meeting held in Council Chambers, City Hall, Thompson, Manitoba on Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018 be adopted as circulated. Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution to approve the proposed 4-lot subdivision, Lot 15, Plan Number 55056, LGD of Mystery Lake, 4033515, Manitoba Association, Inc. We have a memo from the Director of Development Services, a memo from Community and Regional Planning Branch, and a map. I'll go to administration for support.
Yes, this is basically a subdivision of a lot on the airport down by the Calmaire side, the north side of the airport, where they'd be putting 4 parcels of land on lot 15, one of them to be a public road or public access, and 3 other parcels to be used for commercial development.
It's Resolution 2018-005, moved by Board Member Byer, seconded by Board Member Valentino. Whereas the Thompson Planning District has been advised of an application for a proposed subdivision of 4 lots, RD, Rural Development Policy, area for Lot 15, Plan 55056, and from 4033515, Manitoba Association, Inc. And whereas the Development Review Committee has reviewed the application that is in agreement and the Community Planning Services recommendations, now therefore be resolved that the Thompson Planning District Board advise the Municipal Relations Community and Regional Planning Branch that it approves the proposed subdivision subject to the following conditions. 1. That the variation order conditions and easements identified by Manitoba Municipal Relations Community and Regional Planning Branch in their January 10th, 2018 report to Council, and 2. That proposal parcel D of the subdivision be identified as public road. I'll go to administration for any further support. Board members, any questions? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Motion to adjourn. Board Member Valentino, Board Member Foley, all in favor? Carried. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much. Call to order the regular council meeting of council for January 29th, 2018. We need the agenda before us. Any changes to the agenda?
No, there is not.
Thank you. We need a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Councillor Ellis, Councillor Byer, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Just before we get into the presentations, I want to recognize some very important people in our crowd this evening. Rebecca, if you would stand and identify. The Girl Guides are here to observe civic politics for one of their badges. So if you could introduce your Girl Guides.
Yes, so we're the first Thompson Pathfinders and Rangers. So we're here to learn about city government, how it works, with the badge. So I have Baroha, Janelle, Isabel, Margo, and Ariana. We're all here to watch and see how things go.
Thank you. Welcome. Moving into presentations, we have Thompson 2020 to do a presentation on an update of the work to date. I'll bring forward Project Manager Tim Gibson, Harold Smith, and Keisha Davis as our Economic Development Officer. Just for the records, if you want to introduce yourself, and then the floor is yours.
Tim Gibson.
Keisha Davis.
Thank you all very much. I'm Harold Smith. Tonight, Keisha's a rose between 2 thorns.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks very much for giving Thompson 2020 a little bit of time on your agenda tonight. We're just going to give you a bit of a brief update. We committed when Thompson 2020 was established that we would come back to this council and come back to the community regularly with status updates. And I think we've got some interesting updates for you, for your consideration tonight. You'll recall that in an earlier presentation, we described Thompson as a community of opportunity to live, work, learn, raise a family, retire, invest, and play. And our mission is to ensure that Thompson remains that community of opportunity. There are 3 project areas that we're focusing on in order to continue that mission. The first is workforce utilization. The second is retain and attract residents. And the third is business redevelopment. And I'm going to ask Tim Gibson to take us into the slides on workforce utilization.
Okay, on workforce utilization, I'm pleased to announce a job fair Friday and Saturday this week. Next slide is a little more in detail, but just to back up a little bit, it's been months and months of planning and hard work and effort to get to where we are today. So I'm really excited about the next 3 slides, and I hope everyone is when they see them. Just some things that are underway in and around the job fair itself. Currently, we have training planned, training not for the sense of training, but actual jobs. Heavy equipment operator. UCN is leading that, and we're targeting that to begin in February of 2018, late February. Class 1 driver training is actually beginning tomorrow here locally in Thompson. To be developed, and these are happening fairly quickly. As you recall, there was a letter of support to Thompson 2020 from UCN in October, so we have their full support. Minor in training is being led by the Northern Manitoba Sector Council, EMT, security, and then the bottom 3 are kind of looped together: automotive technician, heavy-duty mechanic, and small engine repair. So those are beginning to roll into real and tangible training for careers and jobs. So this is my pride and joy, Friday and Saturday. The mayor or mayor designate is offered to kick it off Friday at 6 o'clock. It's the Northern Manitoba Job Fair. We've actually targeted 2 time slots, 6 till 8 p.m. on Friday and 9 till 3 p.m. on Saturday. Some of the details, there'll be presentations by various industrial partners that'll be at the show. There's some 22 odd companies that are going to have tables, jobs, with jobs, and or training for jobs. And there's some 30 other companies that are going to wander in and amongst the job fair. And hopefully next job fair, we intend to have at least 1, maybe 2 more. We'll get them to participate more actively and get a broader reach as well. So again, we're learning from this first one to try and roll into some really even better, although the bar is fairly high from what I can see right now. It stands to be a very good job fair. That's it. Thank you.
Project 2, as you might recall, was lifestyle housing. It was sort of an all-encompassing category. We've worked with Valet and Manitoba Sustainable Development to look at the most likely areas to focus on to accommodate different types of development. We've identified 12 potential sites, and those include areas for cottages, large lot acreages, and a campground. And we're now looking at narrowing down that list based on the most feasible to develop and to provide services to, such as roads and hydroelectric service. Obviously, those are two big ones that you'll need in looking at development areas. So we're hoping that will produce an updated request for proposal for the development of land with specific sites already mapped out and some of the hopefully some of the approval processes already in place, so that if a developer wants to proceed, if there's demand for a certain type of development, then it should be ready to go. Also under Project 2, retain and attract residents. A real important one is a survey that's been developed. This comes from Valet. They did a retiree survey last year. We saw a lot of good ideas in there, and we wanted to broaden that, the list of people that we were surveying to community residents, focusing largely on what amenities are important for people to make the decision about whether or not to stay or to recommend Thompson as a place for people to locate to. So it's modeled on that survey. It's live now on the Thompson 2020 website. www.thompson2020.ca. And that's one important component of that retain and attract residents, that the community amenities piece. The second one is that we're rolling out focus groups that we want to conduct through February and March, and we've got volunteer facilitators lined up. One of them is Councillor Byer, and we've got others who are lined up to facilitate sessions and add more feedback to the survey results. So we're hoping that come the end of March we can have a very good list of what areas matter the most for people to in their own personal decisions that they make. The last one, Project 3, is business redevelopment. We're currently actively hands-on in looking at two potential opportunities for investment. One of them, believe it or not, is cryptocurrency mining. We've been approached by a number of organizations that are looking at that, and we've sent out a request for expression of interest to those who have contacted us. That closes February the 9th. And we're getting questions and inquiries, looking for more information pretty much every other day right now from the people we've invited to that. It potentially could be a significant investment, but I don't want to raise expectations. These types of data centers really do have a small number of jobs that's associated with them, but they do bring investment and they do bring interest in the community. Home manufacturing is another one. We're on the phone today with a potential developer looking at developing a manufacturing facility that would produce panelized housing, where the walls are all fully constructed and then shipped through here. So there is some interest in that. And the next steps we're focusing on broader is related to retail. We've got North Central Development and Community Futures, and Community Economic Development Fund, both partnering to gather more information on what is required in order to attract investment from retailers, and what interest there is in capacity there locally in different retail options. And that information will be the basis for a local investors breakfast that will be hosted in the next couple of months. We've also made some progress on communication beyond our communication with City Council, and I'll ask Keisha to talk about that.
Okay, so a few months ago, we published our first newsletter, and I'm sure most of you here would have seen that. Recently, we, of course, launched the website, the Thompson 2020 website, and on that website, we are heavily promoting our Twitter and Facebook social media platforms. So if you go on the website, you'll be able to update yourselves on information, as they become available. So that is something that we're also very proud of. And tonight we have some of the January publications of the newsletter to share with you also. In addition, we are also seeking to have presentations done at various stakeholder meetings. We've had presentation recently at the Chamber of Commerce, and it's something that we hope to continue, for months to come while Thompson 2020 is progressing.
Do you want me to wrap that up? So if anyone has comments, we now have a social media presence, and that's a preferred way to communicate for a lot of residents, we understand. If anyone wants to go old school, our emails and phone numbers are there as well.
Anybody? On behalf of council, I want to thank you to date for the hard effort that's been going on. And again, echo Tim's words in regards to the job fair this weekend. I encourage people to come out. This is the first of a number of them to increase employment opportunities, alternative employment opportunities, and not only those that are affected by the announcement at Valet, but the subsequent businesses, side businesses that are affected as well. And so these are open to the general public and should be well attended at the TRCC on Friday from 6 till 8 and on Saturday from 9 to 3. So once again, thank you very much for your presentation. Look forward to the next one. Thank you again.
Thanks so much. We have flyers here we can.
Okay.
have as well.
Thank you. Next, we'll go into general inquiries. A reminder that we have 10 minutes to take questions, and I would ask you to come forward, state your name, and ask your question. So anybody have a question of council this evening? Please come forward. Second time. Welcome.
Serena Pranin, questions still about the pool. You weren't here, Mayor Fensky, the last time I asked what exactly that $335,000 is going towards. Excuse me. Thrilled to have the pool back open, rather disappointed to see that the bulkhead that was recently painted is already starting to rust because it wasn't sanded down, and I don't know if they used a rust paint or not, but all that hard work is already, within a week of opening, starting to wear. The caulking job in the women's shower that was done in October is again moldy and gross because it was done poorly. It literally looks like somebody took 4 fingers along the line, didn't seal in all the gaps. So I'm fully aware that obviously a new heater was needed, and I know that that was significant cost. But I'm curious what the rest of the 335 is going to, and if it's going to continue to go to repairs that aren't being done properly. The toilet in the women's change room also is still not installed with pieces on the floor and the sewer grate, or the opening of the toilet to the sewer exposed. So I'm just kind of wondering, what is the 335,000 going to, and are the repairs actually going to be done so that we're not spending another 335 in a few more years because nobody did it right the first time?
Thank you. Two-part question. One is in regards to the operational repairs, of which you've mentioned, and we'll certainly bring that up with our recreation director in regards to the status of the pool. The other is the capital, which is the 334, and I'll either go to Gary or Jen to talk about the debenture and the expenditures included in that. Mr. Septelli?
As identified, the $340,000 capital amount that the council has approved has gone through a number of projects, which some have been done to date. Obviously, the heating and systems overall for the pool itself has taken the bulk of it. There's a project that is being put forth for updating the chlorine component of the pool, which was tendered. Unfortunately, received no responses back in 2017, so that'll be re-tendered. A number of upgrades to mechanical and electrical components, which really are in the basement and not visible to the general public, but obviously is really the main components of making the facility operate. We've had in the past, I mean, obviously safety issues from an electrical standpoint, and having to turn on components by breakers as opposed to with light switches. So a lot of those aspects have been corrected as part of that $340,000. We're also putting in place this year is work on sort of the mechanical venting and louvering system, which will assist in the airflow and humidity levels in the pool itself.
Any other questions? The issues you raised on the maintenance side of things we'll raise tomorrow with the Norplex staff to cover each one that you raised.
Thank you. I had previously also emailed the rec director and received no reply at all.
Question. Anybody else? Second time? Third and final? Thank you. We now go into adoption of minutes. This is for the regular meeting of council, January 15th, 2018. Resolution 2018-023, moved by Councillor Valentino, seconded by Councillor Byer. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held in Council Chambers, City Hall, Thompson, Manitoba on Monday, January 15th, 2018 be adopted as circulated. Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We're now going into committee reports, and we have the Legislative and Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, and the report will be delivered by Deputy Mayor Colleen Smook.
So Legislative and Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, as known as LIGA. Committee members are Deputy Mayor Smook. I'm the chair, Mayor Fensky, Councillor Valentino, and Councillor Ellis. Staff members Gary Septelli and Angela English. Our mandate, the committee reviews the agenda for regular meetings of council, serves as council's representative to the City School Liaison Committee, to research the programs and priorities of other governments in search of opportunities for the city to partner, to coordinate the City of Thompson lobby efforts, and to set the schedule for the reporting to council by committees. Our meetings are held every second Wednesday prior to the week of council meetings. And those meetings are in camera, so the public, that's one of the few meetings that the public is not to attend. Lobby efforts. Liga actively pursues partnerships with various provincial and federal governments to advance the city's priorities. Some of the meetings held with the minister during this reporting period are Minister Clark, Indigenous and Northern Relations. We continued discussion on the grant in lieu and Thompson 2020. Minister Wharton, Municipal Relations, met on November 28, 2017 to discuss the grant in lieu, UCN tax assessment, regional hub funding, red tape reduction, Thompson 2020, and grant timelines. Minister Schuler, Infrastructure, we met on November 28, 2017 to discuss Omnitrax. We continued discussion on the design of the Miles Hart Bridge, PR 280, and the tendering process. Minister Squires, Sustainable Development, attended the Made in Manitoba Climate and Green Plan in Thompson on November 17, 2017, met on January 14, 2018 to discuss cottage lot development, Thompson 2020 plastic bag ban, and one-stop drop project. Minister Gertson, Health, Seniors and Active Living, we met on November 28, 2017 to discuss the outstanding ambulance receivables, reduction in ambulance fees, personal care home, cannabis legislation, and University College of the North. Minister Friesen, Finance, we met on November 28, 17 to discuss the PST and land transfer tax of the water treatment plant, red tape reduction, CSO program, and Canada-Manitoba infrastructure. Minister Pedersen, Growth, Enterprise and Trade, met on January 3rd, 2018 to discuss the grant in lieu and Thompson 2020, and a meeting was held with the Director of Mines, Chris Beaumont-Smith, on January 10th, 2018 in Thompson to discuss the Mining Community Reserve Fund. Minister Stephenson, Justice, had a brief discussion on November 28th to discuss the CSO program, met with ADM Grafeco on December 15th to discuss the CSO program in Thompson 2020, excuse me, grant in lieu and the Northern Restorative Justice Facility. MLA Bindle, Mayor and Council and Administration met on January 12, 2018 to discuss the grant in lieu. Minister Carr, Federal, Natural Resources, a conference call was held on October 31st, 2017 to discuss the Hudson Bay Railway and Omnitrax. And these are only some of the meetings. We've met with them over the previous year, every chance we get. Our conventions and conference meetings. The organizational meeting of council was held November 1st, 2017. Mayor Fenske and City Manager Gary Sepatelli had a conference call with the Canadian Beverage Association on November 14th, 2017. Councillor Beyer attended the UCN Industry Engagement Night on November 21st, 2017. Mayor Fenske, along with City Manager Gary Sepatelli, met with Amanda Nash to discuss the Thompson Sugary Drink Alliance on November 22nd, 2017, and a Sugary Drink Alliance meeting was held with businesses on January 23rd, 2018. Mayor Fenske, Deputy Mayor Smoot, Councillor Beyer and Foley, and City Manager Gary Sepatelli attended the AMM conference in Brandon on November 27th to 29th, 2017. Mayor Fenske, Deputy Mayor Smoot, Councillors Beyer and Foley, and City Manager Gary Sepatelli met with the RCMP on November 28th to discuss the Corps de Commissionaire costs, CSO program, pension costs, and cannabis legislation. A public budget consultation for the 2018 budget was held on November 30th, 2017. Deputy Mayor Smook attended a meeting to discuss downtown issues on December 2nd, 2017. Council members and administration attended the City School Liaison meeting and Board of Revision on December 7th, 2017. Mayor and Council, along with City Manager Gary Sepatelli, met with the Communities Economic Development Fund Board on December 13, 2017. Mayor Fenske attended the Provincial Municipal Justice Advisory Committee meetings in Winnipeg on December 15th and 2017 and January 5th, 2018. Mayor Fenske, along with City Manager Gary Sepatelli and Director of Development Services Anthony McGuinness met with the Thompson Chamber of Commerce on December 20th, 2017 to discuss the financial assistance bylaw. Mayor Fenske, along with City Manager Gary Sepatelli and Director of Development Services Anthony McGuinness, attended the duty to consult presentation on January 17, 2018. Councillor Ellis attended the Province of Manitoba's Poverty Reduction Strategy Consultation Workshop, and the Public Utilities Board hearing for the water study was being held on January 27th. We were all in attendance for that. Mayor and Council, along with the administration, continue with the 2018 budget meetings. The Thompson 2020 Project Management Team continues to meet to mitigate the impacts of the closure of the refinery and smelter 2018 and Birch Tree Mine in care and maintenance. The downtown strategy, the City of Thompson will receive a one-time payment of $150,000 for 2018 from the province for the Province of Manitoba for the CSO program. Aboriginal Court, a meeting with stakeholders and partners to discuss a strategic planning session on November 22nd, 2017. The meetings continue with the Thompson Urban Aboriginal Strategy to coordinate a strategic planning session during the last week of February 2018. Association of Manitoba Municipalities, Mayor Fenske, Deputy Mayor Smook, Councillors Byer and Foley, and City Manager Gary Sepatelli attended the AMM Cities Caucus meetings in Brandon on November 27th, 2017. Councillor Byer, as the Northern District Director, attended the AMM Board of Directors meetings in Portage on December 13th, 14th, and January 25th, 2018. That's my...
Pat?
Yeah, just sort of to clarify, sort of the meetings, they are open to the public, but there are certain components that are placed in camera depending on the confidential nature of some of the issues.
Thank you. Council, any questions on the report? Seeing none, we'll receive it for information. Thank you. Now we're moving on to correspondence. We have a letter from Scott Fielding, Minister of Families, in response to our letter on Street Reach North program. This letter's to myself, Mayor Fenske, in response to your request for the update on Street Reach North in Thompson. We appreciate the need for coordinated services and immediate response to assist with missing and sexually exploited children. We are continuing to explore viable options for expanding the Street Reach program. An evaluation of the program is underway to determine best practices and effective collaboration in meeting the needs of our communities. In the interim, our Winnipeg Street Reach team has partnered with Thompson RCMP to assist with Project Deliver Home in an effort to locate and return at-risk children to placements of safety. The team recently participated in a project with the RCMP from December 6th to the 8th, 2017, and had the opportunity to meet with community partners and the city manager to ensure ongoing discussion and awareness around this critical issue. Our Street Reach program manager will continue collaborating with the City of Thompson, RCMP, and community stakeholders to assist in meeting the needs of missing and sexually exploited children to work towards establishing the supports necessary to keep at-risk youth safe. It may be beneficial for you to connect with Mr. Ron Moniaz, Chief Executive Officer of the First Nations of Northern Manitoba Child and Family Services Authority at 204-942-1842 in an effort to bring all partners together to ensure the safety of our youth remains a priority. In regards, Scott Fielding, Minister of Families. Administration, anything to add?
Yeah, just as a direction, this letter should be referred to the Public Safety Committee for follow-up.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Councillor Valentino.
Further to the Public Safety Committee, can they also provide an update on this project that they are doing, Project Deliver Home, so we can have communication to the public about what it is?
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next letter, which is from Doug Lofsted, President and Vice Chancellor of UCN, in regards to the 2015-2020 strategic plan. The letter's to myself, Mayor Fenske. I'm pleased to be providing you a copy of UCN's 2015-2020 strategic plan, Saskatchewan Second Cycle Summary Report, July 1st, 2016, June 30th, 2017. The report highlights the work of Cycle 2, July 1st, 2016, June 30th, 2017, and illustrates the tremendous amount of work taking place across all areas of UCN. The report consists of institutional highlights, statistical information, departmental annual plans, and progress achieved. If you have any questions, please contact Charlene Lafreniere, and her contact info is there, or Devni Zahiko, There's contact there as well, and this is signed by Doug Lofsted, President and Vice Chancellor. Administration, anything to add? Council, any questions of the correspondence? Seeing none, we'll move into resolutions. We have a motion to rescind resolution number 2018003, being a resolution to approve the letter of understanding between Valley Canada Limited and the City of Thompson. Resolution 2018024, moved by Councillor Matichak, seconded by Councillor Foley. Whereas January 2nd, 2018, Council passed resolution number 2018003, approving the letter of understanding between Valley Canada Limited, the City of Thompson, the School District of Mystery Lake, and the LGD of Mystery Lake for the municipal tax and funding arrangements for a 4-year term commencing January 1st, 2018 and terminating on December 31st, 2021. And whereas on January 15, 2018, a written motion was brought forth by Councillor Matichak to rescind resolution number 2018003. Now therefore be it resolved, the Council rescind resolution number 2018003, which approved the letter of understanding between Valley Canada Limited, the City of Thompson, the School District of Mystery Lake, and the LGD of Mystery Lake for the municipal tax and funding arrangements for a 4-year term commencing January 1st, 2018 and terminating on December 31st, 2021. We'll go to the mover, Councillor Matichak.
I'd like to start with a point of order, and my point of order is this. I mirrored my motion to rescind on City Manager Gary Sepatelli's memo that came with the original resolution, Valley Canada Limited Letter of Understanding, but yet the actual resolution was a resolution to approve in principle the grant in lieu. Now, are they one and the same, or should they be considered separate? The grant in lieu and the letter of understanding on the grant in lieu.
The proper terminology is letter of understanding as per the document that all council received.
But the actual resolution was
A le-
approving the grant in lieu.
The resolution reads a letter of understanding.
The resolution, I'll read it for you, dated the second day of January, 6.1. A resolution to approve in principle the grant in lieu. It seems to me we're putting the cart before the horse once again.
A motion to rescind a specific resolution. The resolution that you've motioned to rescind, as per your direction, is included in this package, and that's the one we reviewed.
So they
So-
are one and the same.
For the purposes of your discussion, yes, they are.
Good enough.
Okay, anything else?
Yes, I'll start with. When this started, the committee, it was stated by the committee members that it is a negotiation, but it is not a negotiation. Quite simply put, our committee did not negotiate. That's why it was not a negotiation. When it was started, Councillor Beyer at one point said she felt that she was thrown under the bus, but she still did not recuse herself. She stayed on it, even with that feeling of being thrown under the bus. At the resolution meeting on the 2nd of January, Councillor Beyer stated that she does not understand why we are so dependent on a major employee. Well, I have a news flash here. We at the City of Thompson are dependent on all sources of revenue, taxes and grants in lieu of taxes. That is why we are so dependent. To those who state that we are all in this together, this is a deal with corporate valet, not local valet. Lastly, on this, I'd like to ask, why were the other GILs more lucrative than this one? And the reason why is because they were negotiated that way. Thank you.
Councillor Wong?
Mayor, I have a few questions. The question is direct to Kathy, Councillor Valentino. Oh,
The discussion is about the motion to rescind. I would caution councillors asking other councillors direct questions. This is in regards to the motion to rescind, so I would ask councillors to stay to that discussion.
is my talking point. So we had 13 meetings, 32 hours, and 9 in-camera update to the council. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
It is, okay. Can you please give us a breakdown, all 13 meetings, date of the meeting, time of the meeting, who were there, the venue, and the agenda of each meeting?
Excuse me, Councillor Wong, this information has already been provided to you. You're well aware of that information.
I did go back to all our calendar. We started the negotiate from May 3rd, 2017 meeting. May 2nd, on our calendar, we have another GIL meeting with SDML without valet, which is 4:30 to 5:30, which is 1 hour. May 24th, 2017, with the SDML again, School District Manitoba District Lake, SDML, that's what stands for. Time from 4:30 to 5:30, 1 hour. June 6th, June 12th, June 19th, that's all with the school board. It's 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 1 hour. June 29th.
Councillor Wong, if I could ask, is there a question?
Yes, I want to state it, the 32 hours where they come from. Because this is the team that set by you to negotiate on behalf of the city. So I'd like to understand where the negotiates from and how the money, the amount come from, and where the 32 hours come from. I think I have a right to question that, to find out the clarification on behalf of the taxpayer. So I believe I have the right to ask the question. Whether you want to answer my question, that's fine.
Councillor Wong? Again, caution. To start with, I didn't create the committee. Council created the committee. I declared a conflict of interest at the time and wasn't part of that decision. In regards to the reporting, the committee reported to council on a regular basis on the meetings with the school district, on the meetings with valet. So you're well aware of every meeting that took place, and you're well aware of the updates. So again, is there a question?
Those are not aware of. Those are all in camera between the committee. So I never got the report from what they've been talking throughout that meeting.
Again, Councillor Wong. The meetings took place with the committee that was designated by this council to discuss with valet and the school district of Mr. Lake the grant in lieu process and the agreement. As part of our committee structure, the committee chair, Councillor Valentino, reported back to council on each and every meeting.
That's not true.
Excuse me, I think that is true.
So I still think I have a right to ask the question. Okay? So when I read it out, all this meeting that on my calendar, I added up, there's no 32 hours. So I don't know where's the 32 hours come from. And even though there's no 13 meeting, so if that much of hour that spent 13 meeting and 32 hours, I took it as accurate. What kind of why they spend that kind of hour and not getting anything out of it?
At the end of the,
I'm kind of confused about the negotiate, but not negotiate. 32 hours, 13 meeting. That's a long process.
okay, so Councillor
I don't
Wong,
take it lightly.
Councillor Wong, understand, nobody takes this lightly. The content of the meetings was within the committee structure with the partners that were designated by each entity to discuss. Out of those meetings came reports back to this council in camera on updates as to the progress of those discussions. The time and the dates were clarified and were explained to council in regards to the process that started and the process that finished, with the resolution bringing forth a grant in lieu agreement. So again, is there a question?
As a city council, don't you think we need to keep the minute, especially GIO negotiation meeting, to prove we did enter the meeting?
Again, a caution, Councillor Wong, you're questioning the credibility of the assignment that this council gave to that committee. The committee had the best interests of the city to bring our concerns to that table with valet and the school district of Mr. Lake. Both parties, or all three parties, entertained legal support, which all of the discussions were reviewed by legal proponents for each side. And at the end of the day, the agreement was struck and presented to council and reviewed by council and finally accepted by council on a resolution.
Did you have a proof of all that? That you say we enter?
Excuse, again, Councillor Foley.
Without minute, you cannot say he said, she said.
Councillor Wong, I want to, I don't know how much clearer I can make this. The process was followed. All of council was made aware of the updates. Our legal representation reviewed with our staff and with us on conference calls in regards to the discussions. And at the end of the day, this council passed a resolution to accept the grant in lieu as was presented by the parties involved. So again, I want to question credibility because you either don't understand or you weren't part of the committee. Any
Hey,
other questions?
Here's my closing statement and my 2 cents. This is not about valet give the town less, which is their success in this negotiation. It's about the leadership that been abused and manipulate the whole entire process. In front of the public, he recused himself, but behind the public, he's
Excuse me,
sitting.
Councillor Wong, I'm going to cut you off right there. Again, this is your opinion, and you are...
Can you let me finish? Then you can
No, I
debate.
can't.
You can debate.
I'm not debating anything. You're on the verge of slandering this council and myself as the mayor. So the process was followed, whether you understand it or not.
Okay, I'm
that's
going
up
to
to you.
skip that word.
Excuse me, I'll give you a final direction. Do you have a closing question or a comment?
I have a
Please be-
comment.
Please be cautious. Thank you.
The incompetence of the team
Excuse me.
failed to negotiate.
Excuse me. Again, that's your judgment. This council passed a
They
resolution.
can say anything
Excuse
they
me.
want.
Excuse
Results
me,
speak for itself,
Councillor Wong.
which is failed.
Councillor Wong, as the chair, caution. I'll provide you one more opportunity to stay within
Is
the
it you
boundaries.
try to shut me down again?
I'm going to provide you one more opportunity to stay within the boundaries of council conduct in this chambers. Continue.
I totally agree with the council comment, which it should not be depend on one company to run the town. But what had done from the previous council, especially we had 3 council been to GIL negotiation. Did they try to move away from GIL negotiation? That assessment, which is Sudbury, Ontario successfully changed it. It make more sense by going this direction than GIL negotiation. The amount of the problem can be totally avoided. But this is unfortunately, those re-elected council failed to do so. I'm strongly suggest to move forward to assess the property instead of enter the GIL negotiation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Collada, Councillor Smoke, Councillor Collada.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm not under any delusion that this resolution will pass or that if it did, there would be any changes. But I've been here for a very long time, and the early GILs with International Nickel Company were substantial at that time. And certainly, they weren't operating at a profit here in Thompson when they were developing shafts and building the surface facilities. So I'm well aware that Vale International has mandated Vale Manitoba to be sustainable. But I think that they're one of the largest companies in the world, and we have substantial mineral resources here, and that I think we should have had more emphasis on having a concern for the community that houses the Vale employees. So I was disappointed. I'm certainly in favor of assessment, and I'm going to support this resolution even though it won't be going anyplace. I'm well aware of that. I know what the numbers are.
Yes, I would just like to thank Councillor Valentino, Deputy Mayor at the time, for heading the committee, Councillor Byer and myself. I feel the three of us did a good job. I think I can understand why Councillor Wong and Councillor Matichak can't understand why it can't be done in 32 hours, because they would have to go over everything 10 times. We started out, we presented our position, Valet presented their position. If we look around town and the economic development, then please, we did the best that was for our community. We could have also just backed off and did nothing, as you insinuate, and gone for the $1 million a year. My question is, are you guys willing to jeopardize 4.8, 3, 3, and 3 by this grandstanding? Thank you. I'm sorry, that's all I have to say.
Mr. Byer.
Yes, I'd like to point out that, our memories always, we always remember the things we want to remember, and everybody likes to think that INCO was which it was very generous, but that all of the grant in lieu agreements were just wonderful processes. Like to remind people that in 1999, and I believe Councillor Clada may have been the only person on council at the time, INCO, or this city, took a bigger hit on their grant in lieu than it has this time. And I know it was 1999 because I had to write the press release that made it sound like a good thing and not a bad thing. So to try and delude people into thinking that these have always been negotiated agreements and the city always came out on top, they're not negotiated. Yes, they are discussed. Each both the companies and the city's situations are discussed. Is it a negotiation? No. And Councillor Clada, who has been on previous GIL teams, of all people, would know that, or should know that. So this is not the only hit we've taken. In '99, the city had to take steps to mitigate that cut, and just as we have to take steps to mitigate this cut. And I will, as much as I'm tempted to make comment on the way my comments were taken out of context and abused, I won't, but I would just like people to know that if you're going to take other councillors' comments out of context, be prepared to have it come back at you at another time.
Councillor Ellis.
I think what you're asking us to do tonight is to enter a high-stake game of poker, right? And so we have an agreement before us that we've already passed. That agreement amounts to $3.8 million minimum over the 4 years. What they are required to pay under the 56 agreement is approximately $1 million a year, amounting to $4 million. So if we were to rescind this resolution, we would be asking the city to reduce our revenues by $9.8 million over the 4 years minimum. I'm not prepared to do that. As a city councillor, I need to look after the best interest of the city of Thompson, and I'm prepared to do that. So I'll be voting against this resolution.
Councillor Foley.
Just that my comment in regards to that, even though we have already passed this resolution at I believe it was 2 council meetings ago, it still has to go back to the board at Valet. So I just hope that the inappropriate comments and words used at tonight's meeting by some members of council do not affect the decision that's going to be made when Valet takes it to their board.
Sir Valentino.
In the debate.
In a recorded vote, call for the question.
I'd like to close.
Sorry. As the mover, I'll allow you to close.
Okay, this committee we formed, I call it Mayor Fenske's Elite, because what we have here is the 3 deputy mayors. I'm not slandering anybody.
Councillor Matichak. Councillor Matichak. What's your language?
I think we have 2 lawyers here that can tell us this landing or
Excuse
not.
me, Councillor Wong? Now, Councillor Matichak, you have the right to close. I'll grant you that right. That's your position. But please do not degrade this council or councillors in your process.
Okay, this committee was sent in to negotiate a fair grant in lieu of taxes. It's a grant in lieu of taxes because they do not pay taxes. They lost sight of that. They came back with no recommendations. We got a memo from our administration recommending this, nothing from the committee at the time of the original resolution. I believe that this committee failed miserably,
Caution,
just being careful,
caution.
and was duped on a grand scale by being told that it is not a negotiation. All but Valley lose. To councilors, there's more to this than being on the winning side of a resolution.
Thank you. With that, we'll call the question. In a recorded vote, all those in favor? Opposed? Voting in favor, Councillor Matichuk, Councillor Wong, Councillor Claude. Voting opposed, Councillor Byer, Councillor Ellis, Councillor Foley, Councillor Valentino, Deputy Mayor Smook, and Mayor Fenske. It is defeated. Next, we have a resolution to approve McDonald's development agreement. Resolution 2018-025, moved by Councillor Foley, seconded by Councillor Byer. Sorry, did I miss one? Oh, resolution to approve attendance at FCM 2018 Annual Conference and Trade Show. Resolution 2018-025, moved by Councillor Foley, seconded by Councillor Byer. Be resolved, the council approve the attendance of Mayor Fenske and Councillor, it's blank at this time, Gary Sepatelli, City Manager at the FCM 2018 Annual Conference and Trade Show in Nova Scotia on May 31st to June 3rd, 2018, and be resolved that the attendance at this event be borne under the terms and conditions of Bylaw 1897-2013. Just for background, normally the FCM conference, which is the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, is the federal lobby group on behalf of municipalities across Canada. Past practice has been to send the mayor, the city manager, and 2 councillors to FCM. At this point, through our budget deliberations, we are reducing the number of councillors from 2 to 1. We have, I believe, 4 councillors that have expressed interest in going to the conference. If you could raise your hands at this time, the 4 of you. Okay, so we have Councillor Ellis, Councillor Wong, Councillor Claude, Councillor Foley. We have 1 spot, so that will call for an election of, yes. Yes.
Because due to the cost saving, I don't think I need to go there.
So we're down to 3. Anybody else?
And also I'd like to speak a bit of the historical.
For the resolution. Wait for the resolution. We have 3 spots. So Councillor Ellis, Councillor Claude, and Councillor Foley. So we have 3 spots for 1. We would have to have an election of 1 position, and I believe you have ballots in front of you. So please select your councillor to attend. 1 name only.
I'd like to recommend that a scrutineer go with them.
Councillor Matichuk, that is totally out of order. Total.
The elections all the time.
Excuse me.
This is an election.
Excuse me. Councillor Matichuk, watch your language. This is totally out of order. You know it, and I know it. Nice try, though. Not at the,
There's no name there. Why can't they read it here? There's no name right there. Just the person going. Why can't they just read? Okay, Councillor Claude, Councillor Ellis, Councillor Folt. What's the
let
problem?
me explain the process of a secret ballot.
A secret ballot that means you
secret-
put your name.
Secret ballot means that the ballots are closed.
Okay.
That's a secret ballot.
Okay then.
Thank you, Councillor Foley, or Councillor Wong.
Councillor Foley.
Councillor
Sorry,
Foley.
Councillor Collada.
Councillor Collada? So we'll insert Councillor Collada in the I'll reread the resolution with the councillor's name. This is Resolution 2018-025, moved by Councillor Foley, seconded by Councillor Byer. Be it resolved, the council approve the attendance of Mayor Fenske, Councillor Collada, Gary Sepatelli, City Manager at the FCM 2018 Annual Conference and Trade Show in Nova Scotia on May 31st to June 3rd, 2018, and be it further resolved that the attendance at this event be borne under the terms and conditions of the bylaw 1897-2013. Go to administration for support. Anything to add? Go to the mover, Councillor Foley. Anything to add? Council, any questions? Councillor Wong. Thank you. Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Destroy the ballots, please. Motion to destroy the ballots. Councillor Valentino and Councillor Byer. Thank you. Resolution now is to approve the McDonald's Development Agreement. This is Resolution 2018-026, moved by Councillor Smook, seconded by Councillor Valentino. Sorry, Deputy Mayor Smook. Whereas the City of Thompson has entered into discussions with McDonald's Restaurants of Canada Limited, McDonald's, for the sale of part Public Reserve Plan number 32600 PLTO for the purpose of development. And whereas the Development Review Committee has reviewed the development proposal between McDonald's Restaurants of Canada Limited and the City of Thompson and is in agreement with the conditions set out therein. Now therefore be resolved, the Council approve the development agreement between McDonald's Restaurants of Canada Limited and the City of Thompson for part Public Reserve Plan number 32600 PLTO. We'll go to administration for support. Anything to add?
In reference to the memo that's been provided to council is that the City of Thompson has been in discussions with McDonald's Restaurants Canada Limited for sale of part of Public Reserve Plan number 32600 PLTO for the purpose of a proposed development. McDonald's intends to demolish their existing restaurant, which is currently situated on Lot 3, Plan 32600 PLTO, and construct a new 90-seat, 5,769 square foot restaurant on their existing lot and part of the existing Inayapuan Circle. Construction is scheduled to commence in the spring of 2018. As indicated that this discussions have been continuing for the last half a year or so, and the concept has been discussed numerous times at the Development Review Committee, where consensus was given to administration to proceed with the discussions with McDonald's as they were agreeable to selling part of the existing Inayapuan Circle in order to accommodate the proposed development. In regards to the sale of the part of Public Reserve, McDonald's has agreed to pay $66,088 for the portion that they are buying, which works out to an actual square foot cost of $8, minus $15,000 in consideration of McDonald's undertaking at their expense in construction the relocation of the existing walkway to the southern portion of the Public Reserve closer to CIBC. McDonald's is also responsible for subdividing the land in question to accommodate this development, which will require a Public Reserve closing bylaw, legally closing the park, and a variation order reducing the required parking spaces from 58 to 30. What council has before them tonight is a resolution approving one of the components of the development, which is the actual development agreement, which then will undertake a number of other actions that they're responsible for.
Thank you. I'll go to the mover, Deputy Mayor Smook.
No, this is a great development for Thompson at this time. It'll be a great addition.
I think as chair of the Development Review Committee, one of the things that really excites me about this is the obvious confidence that McDonald's Restaurants Canada is putting in our City of Thompson at a time when everybody seems to only be talking about doom and gloom and the bad things that seem to be happening. Here is an organization that is making a huge investment. It's not often you'll find a company who's willing to tear down their building and shut their business down for 4 months while they redevelop. That is a huge investment in the City of Thompson. I'd like to thank McDonald's very much for that confidence in us, and I'm really glad that this is happening at this time, because it's one of the shots in the arm that we need in Thompson.
I was chair of Development Review at the time when this came to that committee. I was in favor of it then, and I am in favor of it now. I will be voting for it.
Thank you. Councillor Ellis?
This is a good news story. We are dealing with a downsizing of our major employer. In order to see investment in this community, we're gonna see it incrementally among hundreds of different investments, and I'd like to thank McDonald's. I knew they do their homework before they make these plans. They obviously see something and that around this and in Thompson in terms of the future, and something that we echo in this chamber. But it is definitely a good shot in the arm.
Thank you. Councillor Wong?
The price for $8 a square foot seems a little bit low in the downtown, but right now in this situation, I think it's a good deal. At least we have some development going on. But I'd still like to know, what was the value for the downtown, roughly about per square foot? Any number?
Based on our land valuation matrices that we have, Thompson has developed the average price of commercial lot in downtown Thompson is $6 a square foot. McDonald's had the land valued and appraised and came back with that component.
But also, that's not the land that we have available. We have to make the variance changes to do that, right? It's not our stock, right, that piece of land that we use?
City of Thompson land is, obviously there's certain components that have to be accommodated as part of the development, and one is subdivision approval, because they're only taking approximately 3/4 of the lot. So they've got to legally subdivide it to create a new legal lot. They also have to do a public reserve closing because it is a park, and they have to do a variation order because as per zoning bylaw, the number of parking stalls required for the restaurant that they're proposing is 58, and we have to reduce that to 30, which is more than they currently have existing right now.
Any other questions? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution to approve the agreement between, between the City of Thompson and the Trailbreaker Snowmobile Club, and we have a memo from the Director of Development Services, Resolution 2018-027, moved by Councillor Byer, second by Councillor Valentino. Be resolved, the Council approve the agreement between the Thompson Trailbreaker Snowmobile Club and the City of Thompson to address conditions of the re-subdivision as outlined in Resolution Number 2017-277, passed by Council on December 11th, 2017. Go to Administration for support.
Motion to table?
Motion to debate table is non-debatable, so we'll call the seconder. We have a duly moved and seconded motion. Motion to table, non-debatable.
I believe I'm allowed to state my reasons
No,
for.
no, no. It's motion. You don't. Councilor Matichak, those are the rules. You don't. I'm not picking on you. Those are the rules. Motion to table, non-debatable. Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion to table is defeated. We'll go to administration for support.
Following the instructions that were provided in Resolution 2017-277, the administration prepared an agreement between the City of Thompson and the Trailbreakers, following all the conditions that were laid out by Council. This was circulated to the Trailbreakers, and they've signed the agreement, and the agreement has come back to the City of Thompson, and administration is recommending that the Council consider the resolution to sign the agreement with the Trailbreakers.
For the mover, Councillor Byer.
I'll be supporting this. This was also an item that I inherited from the previous chair of the Development Review Committee. Understanding that this is not a normal situation, I think that the agreement that we have is the best that we can do for all parties agreed, and I think the Trailbreakers are being extremely cooperative, as we have been as well, to make some changes and alterations. So I think, things go well on a partnership, and things make progress on a partnership, and I think that this is a good example of that.
Questions? Councillor Claudia.
The agreement isn't attached to our information, and usually that sort of thing is public information, so I'm wondering why that's the case.
Council has been provided with the
Any Any other questions or comments? Councilor Matichuk.
I don't like this, for the most part, due to the debate up until this point. A lot of it is based on, well, it's probably not gonna be developed for 20 years or more, if ever, because Thompson at this point is not growing much. But you don't see them in the city of Winnipeg saying, well, it was only farmland, this new development, we're just gonna let them build on the street. Why not, right? You don't see that, and I don't see why we're allowing it either. Figure out who's responsible. If it's us, we pay to have it moved. If it's them, they pay to have it moved.
Councilor Wong.
I totally agree with Councillor Matachak about that, because we did put a motion to have a special meeting, but apparently all the council and mayor boycott. Well, they want to show up for the special meeting to discuss about who screwed up this. And then, and throughout the conversation, there's a couple of council also agree maybe it's on our side screw up. We didn't get to the bottom yet. And there's a few items here I kind of don't like. One is like, who determined the road to do the extra, like change the road is only cost 26,000. Who determined that amount? Second thing I don't like that is like, since when we allowed to lend money without charging interest? Because we have to debenture money to operate the city. So we are paying tax unless we have a reserve fund then making 5-10% whatever, then it's a different story. So due to all this reason and update information to make this decision, I like to abstain.
In the vote, but before I go to, just before I go to Mr. Septelli, 2 points that you've raised, I'll address one. The idea that you've floated that somebody's loaning somebody some money is absolute false. The charges that have been determined, and Mr. Septelli will speak to that, are on the are the responsibility of the Trailbreakers. The agreement that's been struck in regards to the payment is very similar to the agreement this city council struck with the Nickel Days Corporation in order to have the paving put in place between the Gordon Beard Arena and the Artie Parker Collegiate. So there is no loan of money or anything like that. There is no expense being incurred. The money paid by the Trailbreakers will be put in reserve for future development of this street when and if it takes place. Mr. Septelli, if you could speak to the street and the amount determined as a cost.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the amount that's been identified in the agreement, which council was brought up to speed as to sort of what that comprised, because discussions were held with all of council, where it was identified as to sort of what the length of road, the additional length of road that is required based on the cost per meter of road, which information was given to all of council, likely a few times. So to indicate as to sort of where that figure comes from is a little alarming when council has been briefed in camera on this aspect. And just further from a process standpoint is that Councillor Wong needs to state a reason for his abstaining from the vote.
Just before I go to the, I'll go to Councillor Matachuk first.
Will it be asked if members of this club will also be abstaining or declaring a conflict of interest?
To declare their own conflict of interest. Council members can't call conflict of interest on each other. It's up to the individual councillor to determine whether or not they are in conflict, and it's totally up to them. If they determine from themselves that they aren't, or in their opinion, that's their call.
Correct. But will it be offered to them?
Everybody has a chance to declare a conflict. Thank you. So we're going to go to the vote. So when we go to the vote, I need a reason for abstention once we call for the vote. Once you abstain, then I'll need a reason. Okay? So with that, we'll call for Mr. Foley. Anything before?
Point in regards to Councillor Matachuk's question. I'm assuming you're probably wondering if any member of council is also a member of the Thompson Trailbreakers, which could then be conceived as a conflict of interest. But from my understanding, there are no members of this council that are a member of the Thompson Trailbreakers, unless Councillor Wong is still a member, which I'm not too sure.
Thank you. Councillor Smoke, did you have a question?
Yes, I haven't been a member of the Thompson Trailbreakers for 4 years. I sent them my letter of resignation 4 years ago. Asked to be taken off the list. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going to go for the vote on the resolution. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? And the reason why?
Well, I just stated earlier, because of there's still a few information we cannot get. We did call for the special meeting just to get to the bottom, but we got rejected by the request. So I cannot make decision whether good or bad as a city council perspective. So due to that reason, I have to abstain because I didn't get all my information. Thank you.
Respect your reasons for abstention, but again, reiterating city managers, all information was provided to all of council on this file. So with that, the resolution passes. Thank you. Next, we have the resolution to approve legal sale of cannabis in the city of Thompson, and we have a memo from the Director of Development Services. Resolution 2018-028, moved by Councillor Beyer, seconded by Councillor Foley. Be resolved, the council allow the regulated retail sale of cannabis in the city of Thompson to coincide with federal and provincial legalization activities. And be it further resolved, the council direct administration to prepare the relevant planning, zoning, and licensing bylaw amendments to support cannabis sales in the city of Thompson. We'll go to administration for support.
The federal government has plans to legalize cannabis across Canada by July of 2018, and the regulation of cannabis sales be undertaken at the provincial level. The City of Thompson will be jointly responsible along with the Province of Manitoba for the regulation of retail locations and rules, as well as the rules surrounding public consumption of cannabis. The City of Thompson will also be solely responsible for developing land use planning and zoning rules associated with the surrounding sales and consumption of cannabis. Currently, Council has not passed a resolution on this topic. Therefore, administration is recommending that Council pass a resolution allowing for the regulated sale of cannabis in the City of Thompson to coincide with federal and provincial legalization, and direct administration prepare the relevant zoning, planning, and licensing amendments to support this.
Go to the mover, Councillor Beyer.
I'll be supporting this. One of the things that there's a lot of things up in the air actually in concerning the sale of cannabis, and it deals with the way the federal government is handling it. There will be revenues from the sale of cannabis, and the AMM, Association of Manitoba Municipalities, is lobbying hard on behalf of municipalities in Manitoba that a large percentage of the revenue, the profits, are turned back to municipalities, because it's the municipalities who will be dealing with all of the issues that arise from that. Having said that, if you're not permitting sale of cannabis in your municipality, then you won't reap any of the benefits of the revenues as well, but you will still be faced with a lot of the potential problems that will arise. So just so that you know, many, I think all of the major municipalities in Thompson now have either passed said resolution or in the process of passing said resolution. And as I said, the AMM is currently working on our behalf, lobbying the levels of government to ensure that we get a fair share of the revenues from.
Thank you. Any other councillors comment? See, Councillor Ellis.
I'm also in favor of this. If we whether you agree or disagree about the legalization of cannabis, if we don't allow it in our community, we become an island, right? And our neighbors would allow this, could allow the sale. Under the provincial legislation, in order to ban it from our community, we would have to go to a plebiscite to our citizens, and that's an additional cost that the municipality would have to incur as well. And then at the end of the day, we wouldn't know if we won or lost that plebiscite. So I'm in favor of it. I believe it's an economic stimulus to the community.
Councillor Foley.
I'll be voting in favor of this. The big thing that I want to mention, and I'm going to echo some of the words of our fire chief in town here, is that although there are a lot of positives from revenue that could come with this, there's also a lot of negatives. The studies have shown in the States and the U.S. where this has been made legal, car accidents and deaths have increased. I think it was, some of the numbers are thrown out, 40% with the usage of cannabis. And currently the federal government still does not have anything to use as a roadside tester for to determine whether or not somebody's high. There's a couple of options out there, but Although I'm in favor of it, I do have worries of what the potential risks are.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution to endorse Deputy Mayor Smook to the Look North appointment to the Look North Steering Committee, and we have a letter from Look North Steering Committee. Resolution 2018029, moved by Councillor Valentino, seconded by Councillor Foley. Whereas Look North has appointed Deputy Mayor Smook to the Look North Steering Committee, and whereas Deputy Mayor Smook's travel costs associated with the Look North Steering Committee will be borne by Look North, now therefore be resolved, the Council endorse Deputy Mayor Smook as the member to the Look North Steering Committee. Go to administration for support. Anything to add?
Nothing further than the letter that's been provided by Look North.
Thank you. Councillor Valentino as the mover. Anything to add?
I just think that Mayor Smook is a great choice for this committee. She's been a part of the whole Look North from the past to get to this present of her being on the steering committee. And I think that her knowledge and contacts are vast through the North. So I think you'll do a good job representing us and look forward to the updates.
Thank you. Any other questions for council? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Oh, sorry, opposed? Carried. Next, we have a resolution to approve the City of Thompson placing a reserve bid in the 2015 tax memo, or tax sale, and we have a memo from the Chief Financial Officer. Resolution 2018030, moved by Councillor Foley, seconded by Councillor Ellis. Whereas pursuant to S 372 of the Municipal Act, a municipality may set a reserve bid in the amount of the tax arrears and costs in respect of a property. And whereas pursuant to S 252 bracket 2 of the Municipal Act, the municipality shall collect outstanding charges of water and wastewater services in the same manner that ordinary taxes are collected. Now therefore be resolved that the City of Thompson place a reserve bid on all properties in the 2015 tax sale in the amount of all the arrears, including taxes, water and wastewater services, and costs in respect of each property. We'll go to administration for support. Jen?
So the tax sale is occurring on March 14th, 2018. Currently, there are 8 properties left in tax sale. This resolution allows the reserve bid to be set so that we collect all outstanding taxes, utility costs, as well as any costs associated with the tax sale process.
I'll go to the mover, Councillor Foley. Anything to add? Council, any questions? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next, we have a resolution to appoint a designated officer to bid at the 2015 tax sale auction, and a memo from the Chief Financial Officer. Resolution 2018031, moved by Councillor Foley, seconded by Councillor Ellis. Whereas pursuant to S 374 of Municipal Act, a municipality may bid on and purchase property at a public auction and may direct a designated officer to bid on its behalf. Now therefore be it resolved, the Council appoint Gary Sepatelli, City Manager, to bid on behalf of the City of Thompson at the March 14th, 2018 tax sale auction. I'll go to administration for support. Ken? Go to the mover, Councillor Foley. Anything to add? Council, any questions? Councillor Matichuk.
I will be voting against this. I spoke with the CAO of Leaf Rapids on Saturday, and they are still in a predicament that it's going to take years to get out of due to exactly this.
Yep. Any other questions or comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Next, we have a resolution to approve the tabulation of prices for electrical maintenance and service. We have tabulation of prices for electrical maintenance service. Resolution 2018032, moved by Councillor Foley, seconded by Councillor Valentino. Be resolved, the Council approve the recommendation of the purchasing agent and award the tender of electrical maintenance and service for the period of January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2020 to K&C Electric Limited as per tender file number 10118. We'll go to administration for support. Jen, anything? Councillor Foley, anything to add? Council, any questions? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Resolution to approve tabulation of prices for plumbing maintenance and service, and we have a tabulation of pricing for plumbing maintenance and service and a memo from the CFO. Resolution 2018033, moved by Deputy Mayor Smook, seconded by Councillor Valentino. Be resolved, the Council approve the recommendation of purchasing agent and award the tender for plumbing maintenance and service for the period of January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2020 to MR Plumbing Limited as per tender file number 10218. We'll go to administration for support. Nothing. Go to the mover, Deputy Mayor Smook. Anything to add? Council, any questions? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution to approve the sole source with Simcoe Refrigeration to fix the CA Nesbitt Arena brine line. We have a memo from the Director of Recreation, Parks and Culture. Resolution 2018-034, moved by Councilor Valentino, seconded by Deputy Mayor Smook. Be resolved, the council approves sole sourcing with Simcoe Refrigeration to fix the CA Nesbitt Arena brine line at a cost not to exceed $22,000 plus applicable taxes. Go to admin for support. Anything to add?
Just indicate as to the memo that's by the Director of Rec and Community Services as to the issue that we face in our main arena, which is the CA Nesbitt Arena. Obviously, it requires these emergency repairs. Simcoe has been the vendor that has installed the system, and as we've been working with on our ice plant issues over the last number of years. We're able to isolate the two arenas into one, in which the issue with the CA does not affect the GB, and the GB currently is has been operational since we've experienced this issue with the CA Nesbitt Arena.
Thank you. Go to the mover, Councilor Valentino.
Just thank the rec staff. I know their communication process to the user groups has been very good. So thank you to them, and thank you to our user groups. I was down there most of the weekend, and everybody was very amicable and kind of sharing ice and giving ice up, and things were working very well down there. So I think that's should be duly noted.
Thank you. Council, any other questions? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution to approve Thompson Chamber of Commerce membership meetings for membership fees for 2018, and we have an invoice from the Chamber of Commerce. Resolution 2018-035, moved by Councilor Valentino, seconded by Deputy Mayor Smook. Be resolved, the council approve the 2018 membership fees for the Thompson Chamber of Commerce at a cost not to exceed $1,349.50, all applicable taxes included. Administration, anything to add?
Just indicate that the City of Thompson's fees are based on categories that the Chamber of Commerce have established. We're in the 100 to 200 employees category.
Thank you. Councilor Valentino, as a mover? Council, any questions? Councilor Wong.
I just want to know a little bit about historical, why the city joined the Thompson Chamber of Commerce. To my opinion is, Chamber of Commerce is a lobbyist on behalf of business. So if we tie so close, how are we going to do the job? So I want to know the historical, please.
The only history I can provide, I would go to Councilor Claudia as the longest serving councillor, is that we've always been a member of the Chamber of Commerce, to my knowledge. I can't provide any other reason than that. Councilor Claudia?
I think it was always deemed to be appropriate that we have that relationship with the businesses in Thompson. They are very important to our community. I support it. I think it's a good thing. One of the things that came about recently was the accommodation tax. That came about through the Chamber of Commerce. Or I mean the money from the accommodation tax being donated towards tourism, because we had very little, we were spending very little on tourism, and they're going to be supporting that, and that's part of Chamber, and to me it's a benefit for us to belong to the Chamber.
Councilor Beyer?
Yeah, there was a period actually when the City of Thompson did not pay for a membership, just for a couple of years prior to 2005, and that was because there was a very poor relationship between the city and the Chamber of Commerce. That relationship righted itself, and the membership was again taken out. But I think the Chamber, the makeup of the Chamber, the membership is not just business. There's a lot of nonprofit organizations that also belong to the Chamber, and so they lobby for whomever their members are. I mean, Valet is one of their members. Valet is a much stronger lobbying voice than the Thompson Chamber of Commerce, and yet there have been opportunities when they can support each other in lobby efforts, and and the Chamber of Commerce actually has also supported the city in some of its efforts back when we were promoting winter weather testing and other things. So there are places where we can work together, especially in terms of economic development. I think it's a worthwhile membership to maintain.
Thank you. Councilor Wong?
Yes, I still didn't see the reason we should be part of the member. To have a good relationship, I mean, without membership, we still can have a good relationship. So I don't see any value to be a member. of the Chamber of Commerce. So due to that reason, I have to vote against this. Thank you.
Or Deputy Mayor Smook, sorry.
Collaboration is always good. Especially the last few years, the Chamber of Commerce and the City of Thompson has a good relationship. The Chamber of Commerce has a member on the Development Review Committee. Any of us councillors are free to go to the meetings every week as a voting member because we're as part of the City of Thompson. Especially in this economic times with the 2020, everybody bringing everybody together. I just believe that us being supportive of the businesses and of the chamber itself is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Matichuk.
My business is not a member of the Chamber of Commerce, but I will support this resolution for the City of Thompson to be a member.
Any other comments? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next, we have a resolution to approve the Sport Manitoba lease agreement for office space at the Thompson Regional Community Center, and we have a memo from Director of Recreation, Parks and Culture. Resolution 2018036, moved by Deputy Mayor Smook, seconded by Councillor Ellis. Whereas Sport Manitoba has requested the lease to lease from the City of Thompson one office space, which has been identified as Suite 205, that is adjacent to the upstairs offices of the Thompson Regional Community Center. Now therefore be resolved, the Council approve a 3-year lease agreement between Sport Manitoba and the City of Thompson from January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2020. Vote administration for support. Anything to add?
This is sort of the second generation agreement with Sport Manitoba for the rental of an office space. I think the Sport Manitoba as an organization is a perfect fit for being a tenant at our Thompson Regional Community Center. It's worked out well. The initial agreement was for a three-year period from 2013 to 2016. The provisions in that agreement obviously is to continue to pay that rent, and obviously as to another formal agreement coming forth, which will be dated January 1st, or sort of retro dated to January 1st of 18, going to December 31st of 1920.
Thank you.
Sorry, 2020.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Smook, anything to add? Oh, sorry.
Just a further comment, obviously, is that the increase based on the original agreement reflects the increases over that period of time from our increases to our fees and fines schedule.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Smook as a mover.
I just feel this is a good fit with the recreation center. It gives us sort of a hands-on approach, especially it's been proved throughout the winter games that everybody's in close proximity to each other when they want to discuss recreation.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councilor Valentino.
I wanted to add that the Sport Manitoba office in the TRCC isn't just for sports that are ran out of the TRCC. Sport Manitoba represents all sporting events or sports that take place in our Norman region, and they also are a good granting or funding agency for any sports that we have.
Mr. Septelli?
Yeah, just to sort of clarify a slight error in the memo that's been provided by the Rec and Community Services Director. He's indicating on an annual basis, but the rent is collectible on a quarterly basis. So the 1141 is every quarter.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We're now moving into bylaws. This is the first reading of bylaw 1962-2018 zoning bylaw amendment. We have the bylaw and we have a memo from the Director of Development Services. Resolution 2018037 moved by Councillor Byer, seconded by Deputy Mayor Smook. Be resolved the bylaw 1962-2018 being a bylaw of the City of Thompson to amend the City of Thompson zoning bylaw number 1891-2012 as amended be introduced and read a first time. We'll go to administration for support. Anthony.
Yes, as was mentioned in the Thompson 2020 presentation, the city has been approached multiple times by developers who are interested in potentially developing data centers or server farms in the City of Thompson. When we did a review of the zoning bylaw, we realized that there was a lack of this type of facility under the use class definition. So the amendment would add this and would also add it as a permitted use within the industrial light zone and the industrial heavy zone of the city. So administration felt that we should be proactive to get the process started.
Thank you. Go to the mover, Councillor Byer.
I'll be supporting this, and I would also like to thank and express appreciation to Anthony McGinnis, our Director of Development Review, services for seeing this and jumping on it as quickly as he has. There's definitely potential for investment in the city of Thompson, and this is just a necessary first step. So thank you again to our staff.
Council, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Mr. Sepatelli?
Yeah, so just further to that, I mean, obviously, the public hearing of the next step of this bylaw will be February 26th. And if there are no objections, obviously, the council can give second and third reading to the bylaw at that time.
Thank you. We're now going into the mayor's report. This is for the time frame of January 16th to the 29th. Council budget meeting was held on January 16th and the 22nd. Along with administration, attended the duty to consult presentation on January 17th. Along with administration, school district, and Winter Games co-chairs met with Support Manitoba on January 19th. Along with administration, attended the Shivery Drink Alliance meeting with businesses and mayor and council, as well as administration attended the PUB hearings on January 23rd. Along with administration, we met with the TUAS, Thompson Urban Aboriginal Strategy, on January 25th. The biweekly Thompson 2020 conference calls continue. The monthly water treatment plant meetings continue. Various committee meetings were held: Recreation Community Services, Communications, Human Resources, Development Review, Finance and Administration, and Legislative and Intergovernmental Affairs. The fire chief has asked me to raise a concern, or to address a concern that's been on social media in regards to fire hydrants and the most recent fire and the availability of fire hydrants. I can assure the community at large that we were never at risk in regards to fighting the fires. The one fire hydrant that was not working was damaged by a vehicle and unreported. When it was discovered that it wasn't working, the forces moved to the next available hydrant and continued to fight the service, or fight the fire for the next 48 to 50 hours. That was at the Interior Inn. In general, we do a maintenance of all fire hydrants in the summer, exercise all fire hydrants. The locations of every hydrant is known to the fire service, and we I can recall one instance. There was an apartment fire on Fox Bay that backed onto Deerwood Drive, where we had to go to a secondary fire hydrant, and again, the workforce reacted quickly, and the loss was mitigated to the building itself and a back of a garage. So I want to assure the general public that the fire hydrants are available and working, and our fire and protective services have no issues with their ability to fight fires, even in inclement weather, as they saw. And I want to again give accolades to all those who were involved, whether it was first responders, RCMP, volunteer firefighters from Valley and from Paint Lake, and to those that fought that horrendous fire to the extent that they could. Ultimately, the building was lost, but again, in those conditions, all members have to be congratulated on their valiant efforts. With that, by virtue of the authority vested in me and as the Mayor of Thompson, I hereby proclaim the month of February 2018 as Heart and Stroke Month in the City of Thompson. And with that, I'll go to councillors for any other activities they attended on behalf of the City of Thompson. Deputy Mayor Smook.
Besides HR, Development Review, Finance and Budget meetings, I had the honor of giving greetings at the Prince Bershide Landers Tournament. There was a couple hundred young hockey players and families and parents in town. They just had a great weekend. It was very nice to spend time around the arena watching them. They were happy, the hotels, they were very happy with everything in Thompson, did lots of shopping from the outlying communities. Just the other day, Jessica Castell from Burtwood School was our fire chief for a day, and I got to meet her and we had a little chat here in the thing, and she was a great little fire chief, and I guess as the day went on, she got a lot more open with us, and thank you to Jessica for that. And thank you to our public works crews. I see today they were clearing snow on Centennial Drive East. If you see the signs that go up that say there's snow clearing, if possible, please park off the road. I went down there and there was 2 trucks that had been left on the side of the road, and there's a good foot to 18 inches of snow when those trucks do move off. That's going to be very dangerous for small cars and that. February 1st, this coming Thursday, is our Public Works meeting. Please come and see us. if you want to have more questions about Public Works. 2 o'clock, TRCC.
You, any other report? Councillor Ellis?
Manitoba's Poverty Reduction Consultation Meeting on January 23rd. This is moving forward. The previous government had a 5-year plan, and the current government is going to be renewing that 5-year plan, and of course redoing it. So this is why the consultation. Some of the areas that were looked at were housing, healthcare, education, homelessness, social assistance, recreation, and how it all relates to poverty. I just like to thank the province for having this consultation in Thompson. As we all know, as Northerners, when a southern solution is implemented here in the north, it doesn't always work. So I'm glad that we're able to get our input, and I believe also that they're going to the PAW and they're going to Flin Flon as well to do consultation. So, thank you.
Any other councillors? Seeing none, call for a motion to adjourn. Deputy Mayor Smook, Councillor Foley, all in favor? Thank you. We stand adjourned. Have a good evening.